Now, for men, aside from obviously that quality, which is important, what kinds of things should they be working on when they're single to have a better chance of being a long-term potential partner for women?
That men should work on? Yeah, that's a good question. I think that one of the most important things, and I say this to men all the time, and I said I've found it to be true, is we have to work on our feeling skills, which means that many of us men were brought up to tough it out, to be independent, to not be vulnerable, to be strong, to look strong all the time. And even though it is important to look strong and not to succumb and be weak and to wallow in feelings, women thrive when they have a man that they get to know. Now, maybe in the beginning of the relationship, it's not that important, but I have found women, well, actually, there's been some studies done to show that women they like you, they want to have sex with you when their estrogen and oxytocin, that kind of work together, go up. So the question is, what increases women's estrogen and oxytocin? Well, what they found was two things. This is a guy named John Gray who wrote all these Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus books.
Yeah, I know about him.
Yeah, I've gotten to know him, and he endorsed my book, and I interviewed him. So I was listening to him speak, and he had discovered this research, and so he was the one saying, so what does that? He says, well, two things. One is sharing feelings. That when women share feelings, they could share their feelings with another person, and also have that other person share with them, that it raises their estrogen and oxytocin. The very thing us men were trained not to do. So that's a problem, right? And then the other thing is planned romance. So it's not like February 14th, the men are running to some Hallmark store and getting a card. Yet our brains are wired to deal with emergencies. So we're not great at planned romance, especially after we're out of the honeymoon stage of relationships. We don't do that very well. So if we could learn how to share our feelings and have planned romance, those are two things that could really help. So we have to learn how to identify what we feel and share what's going on, something we're not very good at. And we need to be interested in what the other person is feeling and ask questions. And I always say this to men. I say it like this. Like, let's say you sleep 8 hours a night. You got 960 minutes of waking moments. And 950 moments of that 960, you don't do what I'm about to tell you to do. But for 10 minutes a day, you stop trying to solve problems. Men, we always like to fix things.
Yeah, true.
And you tune into, what is it that I'm feeling? And you share. What's going on? What would I like? And you also ask questions like, what are you feeling about me? Or what do you like about, what do you not? What are the things that are most difficult right now in being with me? That will send your partner over the moon. Most women. I'm not going to say all. But that's probably the one thing that we men, that I have fun with a lot of men, working with men, because that we're so trained, as I was even, to solve problems, to fix things. Whereas maybe 95% of the time when a woman gives us a complaint, they don't want us to fix it. They want us to listen, and yet we try to fix. So that's probably the most important thing.
I found interestingly, because I've done that in my relationships, where I've definitely gotten better at like, hey, let me just hear her out, and then she'll tell me all this stuff, and I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, yada yada yada. And it's like I found if you listen to them long enough, they'll eventually be like, so I need your help. Or
that's right.
Like you actually want my. It's like you have to wait for them to get to the point where they're actually.
You got it. That's good. That's good. I like the way you said that. You're not putting the cart before the horse. Finally, you're going one step at a time. That person, you connect with them emotionally, then they want your help. But if you don't connect with them emotionally, that's what they want. So any help you give is going to fall on deaf ears anyway, because they really want you to understand them, connect with them.
Now, in terms of the feelings part, because, and I've said this on my show too, and I've had guys write me where they'll say things like, well, I tried to be open with my feelings and upfront with this woman about how I was feeling about X, Y, and Z. And I either got pushback, or say like a guy cried to her about something he was going through, that she lost attraction and ended up leaving him. So like, is there I don't want to say a limit, but like, in what ways can men share some of the like harder things that they're actually going through, like certain feelings and things, without their woman looking at it in a negative light and like being turned off by that?
That's a great question. I think the first thing is that we need to come across as we are not being overtaken by our feelings. There's a difference between sharing our feelings versus sharing from our feelings. Like I have to be an adult. So I'm an adult. I come to you. I'm on a date with you. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, let's say it's a person who's been married and divorced before, and maybe was even cheated on. Just to throw that out. I've seen that.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes, I'm a little skittish. I'm a little nervous being with you. Let's say he's saying this to her right now. Oh, why is that? Well, be honest with you. I mean, I want to date you and I'm going to go for it. But there's a part of me that, my wife cheated on me after years, and we'd been divorced now a couple of years, but I still have that fear. It's just something I'm dealing with, versus I'm not sure if I really want to, it's like there's a difference between holding ourselves up and saying, I have this feeling. Now, if the woman says, I don't want that, then she's not the right woman for you, because you've done nothing wrong. You're just being human. You're sharing, I'm a little nervous about it because, versus, well, no, I'm not going to share anything with you because I'm afraid if I open up so, I don't know, just going to have to be patient with me. That's almost like, I'm not asking you to indulge my feelings. I'm just asking you to know, I ask you to just hear my feelings. This is what I'm going through, and just understand me, So I think that it's fine to show those. I think it's very important actually to share. I say this to women, but it's the same for men, to share our weaker spots, because we surely don't want a woman who wants us to be perfect, because we're not. We'll never be able to live up to that anyway. So we might as well get that out of the way early. I'm not saying the first 10 minutes of the first date. I'm not saying that.
I think that's a lot of guys like that first date. They want to just like do vomit diarrhea of all their feelings.
No.
Like, whoa, that's a lot.
No, got to appreciate the process, right? Right. I know you've said this in your way, but timing is important. And, just maybe you get to know the person. It's a process. And maybe if you've really connected in some way, it's really working in the first date, maybe you share that in the first date. Maybe you wait because you want to get to know the person. You got to appreciate where that person is at, and so, but I wouldn't wait too long. I mean, third date, I don't know. By then, I don't want you to have to feel like you have to come across as so high and mighty. I'm perfect. Here I am. Look at me. I'm great. I'm God's gift to women. It's not. That's too much pressure.
So true. So true.
You need to call her on her cell phone.